Welcome back to Life Love Shopping. There are heroes among us, people who have survived the most horrific situations and ended up changing the lives of others. Our next guest is one of them.
And in her book, 12 Tins, Doana Mae DePola documents her tortured childhood at the hands of her father and her road to recovery despite him. And she's joining us today with her story. Welcome, Doana. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about your story. Tell us about the abuse starting when you were just 4?
Well, 4, I remember it at 5, but it started at 4, and it might have even started earlier than that, I don't know. But I wasn't aware of it until my mother went into the hospital. And I was looking out the window, and I realized I would be alone with my dad, and I got a funny feeling, so I realized something was going on.
At that young age?
What exactly was going on at the time, for those that don't really
Well,
know?
I mean, what happened with my dad is he was sexually abusing me from age 4 or 5 all the way till 17, and they recorded it on 12 films, actually, 12 tins.
And by the age of 8, you found a coping mechanism.
Yes, alcohol and drugs work
At the
well.
age
At
of
8 years old, wow.
Well, my father was an alcoholic, so I would steal the alcohol from under the counter and pour water in it to fill up where I took it from because he'd mark it. And my mom had pills, Valium, I think it was at the time. And then on where I was brought up in Brooklyn, there was a lot of people selling Quaaludes, so I would go down and get Quaaludes from the pool room.
As an 8-year-old?
Wow.
Yes.
I am mystified.
Wow.
That astounds me.
Yeah, that does seem really shocking right now.
My goodness.
But did you know at the time that that was wrong? I know you said you had a funny feeling, but did you think, oh, this just happens, this is just something? Was it normal to you?
I thought it was a part of my life. I didn't realize that it was sexual abuse. I thought it was my father liked me the best. I didn't realize.
That is an interesting thing.
When you're taught that, you know, I always say same to racism. If you're taught to be racist, you'll be racist. If your family teaches you that you have sex with your father, you don't know any better until you say it to someone and they look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me.
Did your mother know this was going on?
She never admitted it, but when my dad died, she looked at me and she said, "Did your father sexually abuse you?" And I said, "Don't ask me questions. You already know the answers."
wow.
She was a victim also. She was abused by him, domestic
He was
violence.
physically abusive
Yes.
with her, too.
But when he passed away, you actually made a discovery cleaning out your attic. You found 12 tins of what?
Well, actually, it was in the ceiling, and we weren't allowed in there, so I got a ladder to see because everything was hidden.
Did you know something was up there?
Not the tins, but he had guns and he had ammunition.
Okay.
And then we had the 12 tins, and every tin had a little piece of paper with dates and a word. So that was the discovery. I held him up to the light and saw a girl with a big afro, a little tiny girl, and I knew that was me. And then I ran downstairs, put them behind the boiler, and then I waited. And then in July, I gave them to my counselor because I was already clean 2 years at that point.
Well,
So you knew you
and
would
what
need
age were you at that point where you discovered the
I was
tins?
37, because I got clean at 35.
I want to know
37.
what the moment was like because you experienced it, so it's not like it was completely shocking that it happened necessarily, but to kind of see that resurface and not be expecting it. I mean, I'm sure that's not what you were thinking you were going to see when you saw
On
that.
film.
Right.
Well, it was
Yeah.
horrible. I'll tell you the truth. If you look, I'm 64 now. I didn't talk about it till 4 years ago. So if you can see how long that transition took to feel better about myself and not feel like I never felt as a victim. I always felt a survivor, but I always didn't understand why because I never got the chance to ask him. So it was horrific, but I have a sense of humor, so that sense of humor kind of blocked all the misery I had in my head about the situation, and alcohol works.
Well, I know it's a pain reliever to a lot of
Right.
people.
Yes.
When you were growing up and going through this, did he threaten you? Did you ever feel at any point you couldn't tell someone?
He threatened me every time he came into the bedroom.
Really?
You tell anyone, I'll kill your brother, I'll kill your sister, I'll kill your mother,
And you
I'll
knew
put
he
you in
had
a home.
guns up in the ceiling, so
was a
that was
gun
real
person.
to you.
Wow.
And most people, when they go through something like this, it destroys them. But you found a way to turn it around and help other people.
I feel I was chosen, so to speak, not for the abuse, but chosen to live my life to help people that are in the same situation as I was, in a maybe not as gruesome, but alcohol and drugs, that I could help them see that it's not their fault and to move on with their life, actually.
Right. So you wrote this book, 12 Tins, and what exactly do you want people to know that have either been in your situation or are going through it? What can they get from this book?
Well, a few things. The first couple of chapters are a little rough. I tell people to read it from the back because the back is not a bad ending. I hope someone reads it and realizes that there is help and there is hope and that their misery could be something that really matters to somebody.
And just this year, you broke ground on an outpatient detox.
Yes, we broke ground. We'll be open. Hopefully, it's a
Oh.
ambulatory outpatient detox to help people on opiates. Yes.
Wow. Okay. What do you see yourself doing next? You've done so much
What is
already
next?
with the
Yeah.
book.
Well,
yeah,
I'm
and the
64,
detox.
not too much. I'm hoping to continue my path and continue working with people that are suffering from trauma and addiction. That's my hope.
What sort of response have you received from the book?
Surprisingly, a lot of men. A lot of men have been
Really?
abused by their mother and father, and how this has helped them. And I've spoken and done workshops on it, and I've gotten all good from it, thank goodness. All good, and given them help with, referral sources, which, when you have trauma, you just don't go to any therapist. You go
Right.
to someone that specializes in
You
trauma.
want somebody that understands your situation.
Correct.
Right?
Definitely.
Correct.
Well, I've had such a good time talking to you. And it's so funny when you mentioned the humor thing, because she was cracking me up as soon as she walked in here. I just got giggling. You're hilarious.
You have to be.
You are.
Can you imagine if you weren't funny and you're working with people with substance abuse, they would
Yes.
eat you up and swallow you. So,
Yeah. And you have to
Alive.
help them find the humor in it too. I'm
yes,
sure.
I tell them
Yes.
they're ridiculous sometimes, and they laugh.
Well, Donna,
Thank
thank
you.
you so
Thank
much
you.
for sharing
Very
your
much.
story.
Thank you for having me.
For more on Donna's book and the Resource Center, you can head to our website, lifeloveshopping.com, and we'll have all the information right there for you. Thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Stay with us. We're back in just a moment.